Doing that twice a week is the equivalent of 2.5 hours of steady state cardio training. So this article details some of this information, but I'll tell you how it's done, and I'll share with you what I've been doing. So a treadmill and an elliptical machine. And I prefer the treadmill because I like to do sprints. So I'll get on the treadmill at 6 a.m. and I'll walk for 10 minutes as a warm-up. After that, I will do a 20-second sprint for as fast as I can go. I will then rest for about 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and then I will repeat that again for another 20 seconds. And the studies are showing that if you are going as fast as you can, as hard as you can, that those 2 brief 20-second sprints are enough to cause changes in your heart and your cardiovascular system. Now, if you're overweight and you're new to exercise, I would recommend that you don't do this starting out. Instead, start with something that would be much more mild, like walking. And follow some of the other recommendations here with the supplementation, patches, what you do about your diet, drop some extra weight, get your cardiovascular system moving again, and then start to incorporate some of these more advanced techniques. But what it shows is that if you have a minimal amount of time, there are ways that you can exercise to optimize the results. And I've definitely found that this method works, and it saves on a lot of boring cardio. Now, speaking about exercise, let's go over and talk about the patches. Because since the very beginning of LifeWave in 2002, we have been working with athletes, personal trainers, coaches, Olympic athletes on using a variety of our patches for improving health and for improving performance. So here's a study on the energy patches that are going back to 2012. And the first thing that I would say is that we want to have all of the basics in place. You want to have your foundation. So you want to be getting proper rest, have a healthy diet. You want to be exercising, making sure that you're properly hydrated each day, taking supplements to fill in those gaps. And then when you're using technology like the LifeWave patches, you're really going to be able to optimize benefits. And with products like Energy Enhancer, you'll get the initial benefit of elevating fat burning. And I'll show you a study that we did with Dr. Frank Schallenberger, where we get a 23% increase in fat burning within 20 minutes of the energy patches. So you're burning extra calories just by putting the energy patches on. And that can help people get into a calorie deficit and preserve muscle mass while they're losing extra body fat. So that's a great deal. But in addition to the other short-term benefit, patches in this study was shown to improve not only strength and stamina, but also overall flexibility. Now, there are long-term benefits to using the energy patches as well in terms of longevity, but we'll just focus on. And by the way, all of these studies are in your back office in the resource section. So we're not going to spend a lot of time going through each one of these individually. Now, here's a study that we did. Drs. Tom and Helen Budzinski, phenomenal people, as well as Dr. Carl Merritt, amazing guy. I had first met Dr. Merritt through Dr. Steve Haltiwanger, and Dr. Merritt introduced us to Coach Richard Quick at Richard was a 6-time United States Olympic coach. And Dr. Tom Budzinski was extremely well known in the field of biofeedback, and I believe he even wrote a college on biofeedback. So here's a study that we had published in the Journal of Neuropathy and Neurotherapy, rather. And this had to do with the use of the energy patches and heart rate variability. So there are 4 chambers of the heart, and we can measure the muscle contractions in the heart through heart rate variability, or HRV. And the ratio between the low frequency and high frequency muscle contractions, the status of your autonomic nervous system. So the conclusion that came in this study, and that would be down over here, these results suggest that LifeWave energy patches act on the autonomic cardiovascular factors, heart rate variability in the hypothesized direction. So in other words, you use the energy patches, and one of the effects is that it creates a relaxation response in the autonomic nervous system. Athletes that talk about at their best, they go into the zone, and the zone is where they're in a waking alpha state. So their body is relaxed, their mind is relaxed, and they're completely sharp. So the energy patches are a tool for improving athletic by relaxing the nervous system. There are obviously other effects. The energy patches are designed to increase beta oxidation, which is fat burning. So you get a more relaxed body, a body that has reduced stress, and a body that is elevating fat burning. Okay. And this window at the top is giving me a headache here. Come on. Okay. Now, finally, another study that's in your back office on the energy patches had met Dr. Frank Schallenberger. What he's really well known for is not only metabolic testing, but ozone therapy. We speak about ozone therapy on LifeWave Connect a lot. So if you are, or you know someone that's suffering with cancer, ozone therapy should form a foundation for any natural treatment protocol. And Dr. Schallenberger is considered to be a world authority on the use of IV ozone for treating a whole variety of different health conditions. So I ran into Dr. at a trade show, and I asked him if he'd be interested in doing a study. And he said, well, I don't think your patches are going to do anything. And he was so impressed with the results that he came to our first conference in 2005 in Las Vegas, and was happy to speak benefits of the energy patches. But here we are, and down in results. Application of LifeWave Energy Enhancer patches produced a significant increase in aerobic ATP and maximum ATP from fatty acid metabolism. And if you go on and you read the rest, what you'll see is that within the first 20 minutes of applying energy patches, fat burning is going up 23%. So this is really important because it means that throughout the day, you'll have constant, natural, stable levels of energy without to caffeine. Caffeine, for most people, should be avoided because it creates tremendous metabolic stress. As you know, we came out with Celergize, and we're re-releasing that in June after the shortage. And Celergize is absolutely no caffeine, but it gives you a natural energy boost by turning on antioxidant and nitric oxide systems in the cell, so you can have constant, sustained levels of energy and improved mental day. Okay. So another patch that we want to look at for improving exercise performance, since we're looking at getting the most out of it. And by the way, X39 and X49 patch also have benefits for exercise. So we don't have time to cover all of the patches and exercise benefits. So we're just covering a few. Carnosine. Now, carnosine is, of course, an antioxidant. It's made of 2 amino acids, beta-alanine, histidine. And carnosine is an antioxidant that everyone should be thinking about because it helps keep us younger longer. And this is based on studies that have been done in mammals. Action is known today, and it's been shown that carnosine protects the telomeres from shortening. Carnosine will also improve athletic performance. It improves the health of the heart. And we even did a study showing that carnosine improves cognition. People over the age of 60, put them on the carnosine patch, and we found that carnosine could reverse age-related cognitive decline. So carnosine is something that everybody should be thinking about. Now, the study that we did here with Dr. Lisa Tully, we wanted to see about the mechanism of action. And in fact, what we showed is that carnosine can lower blood lactate levels. So, short answer on this is you exercise and you're going to train hard, and your body switches from aerobic to anabolism, producing lactic acid. So when you use carnosine, it can inhibit the formation of lactic acid, and this means that your muscles will not fatigue as quickly. This improves recovery and improves overall performance. I don't want to say that. I was going to say something about a disease that's known to produce lactic acid, but I stopped myself because we don't make medical claims. Okay, then here's another study that we did, again on the again with Dr. Lisa Tully, on the use of the carnosine patch. And I will point out that while the other studies that I was referring to earlier were double-blind, placebo-controlled with large populations, this was just a pilot with 10 people. But again, what we showed was that the carnosine patch will improve overall measures of stamina. So what this means is that when you start off your day and you're going to do either resistance training or cardiovascular training, by using patches like energy patch or carnosine patch, you can get results. You don't have to wait a month or 2 months to start seeing results in the gym. You can start seeing results immediately, the first day or even the very first week of using these patches. So that's exciting because, of course, that'll help keep you motivated. All right, let's go on to subject now. And let's say now that you have you finished your exercise, you're going to go and have a glass of water so you're well hydrated. That are going to be purchasing an X2O machine. You can have X2O first thing in the morning because that ramps up the metabolism, helps you burn additional fat, provides synthesis of amino acids and other health benefits. You could use celery in the morning, and then you're going to go ahead and get to work. So let's say that you are working in an office and you're going to be sitting most of the day. What can we do to help support calorie burning and reduce and construct our day in a way where it's not detrimental to be sitting? So one of the things that I do, I have one of these desks that you can elevate or retract, and I try to stand at least 15 minutes each hour. And the benefit to this, and this is actually really remarkable, is just the act of standing every once in a while burns calories. So you're getting by standing, you're helping to keep circulation going. You're burning extra because you're getting circulation going. You're giving yourself additional energy and additional benefits. So there was even a study that was done recently showing that just standing 15 minutes every hour had similar benefits to going for an hour. So don't underestimate the value of getting up a few minutes out of each hour, walking around, or just simply standing at your desk. Now, one of the things that I've done over the years, this has been now for nearly 10 years, I've been practicing intermittent fasting, and there has been contradictory information that's come out about this technique. Fasting has been around, of course, forever, but intermittent fasting as a tool in weight loss has first started popularized, let's say just over 10 years ago or so, maybe a little bit longer than that. And more recently, within the past year, there were studies coming out and saying, well, really the only benefits to intermittent fasting is that it helps you control the amount of calories consumed. I don't happen to agree with that, and I think that the early work on intermittent fasting is clear about its health benefits. And currently, what I've been doing for 10 years, is having my eating window between the 11 a.m. in the morning and 7 o'clock at night. And I find consistently that works extraordinarily well as a tool to help provide optimum body composition and even reduction in body fat. So ways of fasting for men and women. I would recommend for men looking at a 16-hour fast and then an 8-hour eating window. And then for women, don't go quite as long. Maybe your eating window is 10, 12 hours because men and women respond hormonally different to these fasting times. But it's a phenomenal tool. Okay. Okay, now another tool when we're talking about weight loss, the use of olive oil. And personally, I think what the clinical data shows pretty consistently, depending on what your overall goals are, is that a high protein, moderate fat diet, low carb, extremely well for managing body composition. Although certainly there are benefits to a ketogenic diet, though I think if you're going after optimum muscle mass, the amount of protein, the percentage of protein that you get is too low. But again, this all the goals are. But one strategy that you can use to help hold off hunger is to take, let's say, 1 or 2 tablespoons of olive oil with your meal. This is obviously a concentrated source of fat. It's a monounsaturated that has enormous health benefits. One of them is that it's going to help to elevate HDL, the good cholesterol, and reduce LDL. But we have to make sure that it's extra virgin olive oil. It's authentic, because there are many different forms of on the market today that are not authentic. I'll tell you a quick story. We did a clinical study with a doctor in Italy who's extremely well known. I'm not going to mention his name because of the subject matter here. But the purpose of the study was to take olives and crush them with the seed in what's called a supercritical process. So in other words, you use a gas like to protect the active compounds in the olive oil and the seed from oxidation so they stay active. And he did this study in China, and he's an oncologist, and he found that they could take people in stage 4 cancer and than olive oil and the compounds in the seed, which were the actives, he had about an 85% success rate at putting people into remission and having them be cancer-free. I asked him this, and what he had said was he was concerned about the drug companies and how they would react to this. And so he decided not to pursue it. So we obviously don't sell olive oil, so I'm just speaking through my right of freedom of. But if this information will help save someone's life, then I'm all for that. So, but obviously there's many, many benefits to olive oil. Now, GLP-1, many people today take Ozempic, and it's being shown today, for example, that one of the side effects of using Ozempic is muscle wasting. So, in other words, you're using Ozempic to lose weight, but it's causing loss of muscle. So you're getting weaker, and you're all down your metabolism. And we can predict what's going to happen with people on Ozempic is that they're going to have to stay on it their entire lives. And you really want to be empowered with your health and not have to be addicted to something. So what would alternative? Well, interestingly and incredibly, olive oil, something simple, natural, no side effects, completely healthy. Olive oil increases GLP-1 secretion. So, in other words, olive oil, natural form of Ozempic. Obviously, they're completely different. And you speak with your doctor about this. For some people, there might be some good reasons why they take Ozempic, because they're morbidly obese, and that's going to save their lives. But be aware that there's, of course, effects with that drug. Here's a way by incorporating olive oil into your daily diet that you can lose body fat, change your composition, improve your cholesterol profile, and have any of these bad side effects, along with some other astounding health benefits. Okay, fish oil would be another one. So another strategy about what you could do to reduce any hunger so you could stay on just putting good stuff into your body and controlling your diet would be fish oil. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I did want to bring one thing to your attention. Again, there were some studies recently showing that fish oil was actually dangerous and could increase the risk of a stroke or a heart attack. Now, fish oil has been extremely well studied, and the doctors that I've spoken to over the years, when I say, what's the number one supplement that you recommend? They always come back and say, take fish oil. 3 fatty acids are well known to improve the health of the heart and the cardiovascular system. So here's what's interesting here. Researchers looked at this data of 415,000 people. Sounds really impressive. And they regularly took fish oil, observational study, and they concluded that fish oil supplements may be a risk factor for atrial fibrillation and stroke in healthy people, but it's not clear why the supplement would have that effect. Now, we scrolled down, and here's what was interesting. Researchers admit that they have no information on what fish oils and omega-3s, the supplements contained, and what doses people took. Well, how in the world can you do a study if you have this level of variation, if you're not controlling for your variables? The fact of the matter are many poor fish oil products that are on the market. They sit on a shelf too long, they become oxidized, and then the oxidized omega-3s are damaging for the heart and the cardiovascular system. So if you're getting fish oil from fish like salmon, sardines, or if you want to use a supplement, get one that's refrigerated. Make sure that you look at the expiry date. Get one from a reputable brand where you know it hasn't been exposed to heat and it hasn't been. Otherwise, the regular omega-3 fatty acids, incredibly great tool for health and weight loss. Now, on that subject, and I want to leave some time for some questions, I'm going to just go through a few things here that are some additional tools you can use to lose. And also, for those of you that are overweight and have high blood pressure, I'm going to recommend a few things now that you can do to lower your risk or lower your high blood pressure. Really simple things. Let's go through it quickly. Alpha lipoic acid. This is a common antioxidant. 300 milligrams 4 times a day has been shown to reduce body fat, and it does this by controlling the blood sugar. Another huge benefit of alpha lipoic acid, because it's helping to move sugar out of the body and control your blood sugar, is that it can prevent or reverse diabetic neuropathy. So if you are type 1 or type 2 diabetes, you're overweight, alpha lipoic acid in high enough dose taken throughout the day is a phenomenal natural ingredient to improve your health. Now, what if you have high blood pressure? Since we're talking about exercise, some people might say, well, I have high blood pressure. I'm worried about, any strenuous exercise. Speak with your medical doctor. But some of the things obviously you want to lose weight, get your whole exercise, because long-term exercise is absolutely going to be the best thing that you can do to get your blood pressure under control. But a few supplements that you can take in the short term and long term. The first is taurine. The studies on taurine are absolutely incredible because they lower blood pressure more effectively than pharmaceutical drugs. Not only that, we've been studying taurine, and what we're finding is that it is one of the most powerful natural anti-aging compounds out there. As you age, the amount of body decreases. And taurine also has a number of benefits for athletic performance. So in other words, you can take taurine, improve your athletic performance, lower your blood pressure, and also protect the health of the heart. Magnesium is another one. We've talked about this many times. 200, 400 milligrams of magnesium bisglycinate per day. Talk to your doctor. But just magnesium sometimes can get blood pressure back into a normal range. It's cheap and it's readily. Nattokinase. We've included taurine, magnesium, nattokinase in our evening formula. Nattokinase also naturally reduces blood pressure and can even get rid of blood clots. And for you men that want to have circulation for optimum sexual performance as well as a healthy heart, nattokinase is something that you should be looking at taking. Theanine, for people that have a lot of stress in their life, anxiety, we included theanine in our evening to help promote relaxation. And one of the things that theanine will do is act like an antioxidant for the heart, relax the nervous system, and help get blood pressure under control. So a common amino acid found in green tea help with your blood pressure. And then finally, nitric oxide. We included in our evening formula L-citrulline. Actually, we have that in our daytime formula, L-citrulline. And citrulline is an amino acid found in watermelon that will elevate oxide. You can also consume beets, and beets have sodium nitrite in it, and sodium nitrite will also increase nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a vasodilator, meaning it will expand the blood vessels, improving blood flow. So both of the cardiovascular system, endothelial function, for reduction in blood pressure, for improvement in sexual performance, elevating nitric oxide is critical. So that is a lot of information in a short period of time, but this is when we're looking at summer coming up, there are many, many natural tools that you can use to reduce body fat, increase strength, increase stamina, improve the quality of your life, have energy without having to resort to stimulants, and have more time for your loved ones. So, Wayne, I'd be happy to take any questions that our brand partners might have.
Yeah, there's been a lot of great questions. David, thank you for sharing. This is such powerful and timely information. And many people were sharing their own personal wellness journey with LifeWave, and many that are inspired to start even doing more for their health and wellness. So thank you for all this incredible information. One I want to start out with is for those that are especially maybe starting into a wellness routine or an exercise routine. So as you look at it, or as they're diminishing returns, how do you look at really the amount and frequency that someone should be doing exercise?
It depends on the goal. So
Okay.
someone that wants to be a professional bodybuilder or professional athlete is going to have very different goals than someone who wants to drop, 5 pounds of body fat and just be a little bit firmer and have, better performance. So what I would recommend is speak with a medical doctor that is a clinical nutritionist or a healthcare practitioner that's certified and has areas that can put together a program that is customized to your needs. Another thing that would be important is that if someone is significantly overweight, think about the long term, meaning, to lose 20 pounds your first month. Don't try to go out, and run a marathon in 2 months. Be thinking about this in baby steps. Start by walking, 20, 30 minutes a day just to get your body moving again. Start with very small amounts of exercise, push-ups. It doesn't have to be a lot. Just get the body moving again. And then I think what people will find is that as they're beginning to exercise, they're losing weight and feeling better, that they'll want to do more. I am like addicted to exercise. Yeah, I could spend an hour or 90 minutes in the gym because I love it. And I love challenging my body and seeing what I'm capable of. So I would say it depends on the goals. More is not necessarily better. We can actually do too much exercise where we inhibit our body to recover, especially based on age. So, work with a trainer, work with a doctor that can customize for you.
That's great. Thank you. And for someone that's looking for more longevity, so maybe not the bodybuilder, or pro fitness, but how do you rank or weight cardio versus resistance from a longevity standpoint?
They're both important. Maybe this is going to be a bit surprising, but I think I would rank resistance training just a little bit better than cardio. But certainly, that would be up for debate. The reason I say that is that when we do resistance training, we want to look at all mortality. Peter Attia, who's a medical doctor, has done some phenomenal research work on this subject. He's a brilliant guy, and I would definitely encourage people to take a look at some of the things that he's done. But the first thing is on resistance training, not we improving our functional strength, but we're also supporting the density of our bones and reducing the risk of a broken bone. And so, especially as people get to be, 60, 70, 80 years old, type of things that we want to prevent: falling, breaking a bone, and then maybe they don't heal right. So I would say the first thing with resistance training is there are enormous benefits in daily life to doing that, and then also protecting from accidents. But cardio, of course, is very close behind that, because a number one cause of death is still heart disease. And as the new studies are showing, if you're taking 10 minutes, on a treadmill, and during that 10 minutes, you sprint for 20 as fast as you can go, spaced, let's say 4 minutes apart. That apparently doing that twice a week is the equivalent of 2.5 hours of steady state cardio. That's a pretty good return on investment. So, I would say putting in small amounts of times scientifically, we can reduce our risk of getting sick, keep our body strong and healthy. One quick note on this. So I'm 62. I love exercise, train all the time. This morning as a warm-up, I did 80 push-ups in a row, and that puts me well above any type of risk factor for heart disease. So if somebody can't do 10 push-ups, that's a red flag. You want to be able to hit at least 40 push-ups in a row. But my kid said to me, "Hey, Dad, we want to go to a place this weekend and we want to run an obstacle course. Will you come with us?" I said, "I totally want to do that. That sounds like fun." So, that's another part of it, is the quality of life, is that when you're following some of the things that we've talked about today, spontaneously, your body is fit, healthy. You can do these things with your kids and friends, and you're always kind of ready for those type of challenges.
Amazing. Yes, that quality of life is what it's all about. So a couple questions came up on as it relates to patches, and do you look at any of them from an application standpoint as, pre-workout, meaning before, and something more later in recovery, or is the important part just to have them on and the body is going to take care of itself?
Yeah, I would look at this from putting the daytime patches on during the day and the evening patches at night. I wouldn't look at it. I would definitely not look at it from the perspective of like a pre-workout or post-workout formula. We could certainly do an entire LifeWave Connect about that. So, for example, many people like to have, I'm kind of anti-caffeine. Have caffeine before going to work out, and it will definitely improve sports performance. No question about that. But you should not have coffee or should not have caffeine after exercise, because it inhibits mTOR. It inhibits muscle protein synthesis, so it can recovery. But with respect to the patches, it doesn't work that way at all. So timing is not so much an issue.
Okay, great. As far as frequency, there was a couple questions just on the carnosine. Do you see it best every day, every other? What do you feel is the best kind of protocol or approach for the carnosine patch?
Yeah, I suppose that depends on the frequency with which the people are going to train. I might say 3 days a week, if you're athletically active, would kind of be a minimum, and 5 days a week probably be a little bit more optimum. It's different than glutathione. Glutathione has a very short half-life of 7 minutes. So glutathione, if we're going for detox, glutathione would be a patch to use daily. Fortunately, X39 shows a mild increase in glutathione by about 30%. That's compared to the glutathione patch at about 300%. So if you're using something like glutathione for detox every day, but carnosine does not have a short half-life like glutathione, so you can get away 4 days a week is okay.
Oh, that's great. There's a couple of questions. There's also, as you mentioned, X39 on the compounding effect, the benefit that it has on any other product or patch that gets used. And they've talked about it specifically around energy enhancer. Does that apply to?
If I understand your question correctly, there's the basic mechanism of action, and then there are ancillary benefits. So, for example, the energy patches, what we showed was that it could increase energy through burning. Now, that mechanism has a number of other significant benefits. If we're burning more fat, we can stabilize our blood sugar. And stabilizing the blood sugar has obvious metabolic advantages. Of course, we're not making any medical claims. Another advantage, so obvious, is that when you increase fat burning, it increases the volume of the cell. And we don't have a lot of time to get into the details, but essentially, as we age, the cells in the body shrink. So we know that when we're born, have 70% water. As we age, the amount of water in the body decreases. The effect of this is that the cells in the body shrink. The electrical charge around the cells diminish, and this has a negative effect on gene expression, DNA. The amount of energy that is transferred from the cell membrane to the DNA during replication decreases, and this changes the epigenetics of the cell. So this is all to say that we can identify a very important mechanism in aging, find ways to reverse that. So with the energy patches, by simply using that as a method to elevate fat burning, we can increase the volume of the cell, increase the electrical charge around the cell, and have a legitimate age reversal mechanism. There's a lot of things the energy patches won't do from the perspective of longevity, but it's a very, very valuable mechanism of action.
That's great. Thank you very much. There was another question just around the principle of fasting, outside of calorie restriction. Can you talk a little bit about the concept of autophagy and some of those secondary benefits?
Yeah. So with intermittent fasting, one of the big benefits is the elimination of what's called zombie cells. So when we look at some of the things we do, if we want to stay younger longer or stop the aging process, one of those things are what are called zombie cells. So it's a cell in the body that dies but is not eliminated from the body. And those cells will end up causing free radical stress on healthy tissue. So there have even been companies that have been set up to induce autophagy, eliminate these zombie cells from the body. Now, there are a number of ways of doing it that are either completely free, and one is intermittent fasting. If you fast long enough, these dead cells are removed from the body. Peppers contain a compound called fisetin, Fisetin, and there are some supplements on the market today that are fisetin, and fisetin has been shown to remove these dead cells from the body. So again, we don't have to rely on a drug. We can get a natural compound. We can eat green, red, orange peppers. We can fast, and we can get these body and induce autophagy.
Thank you for that. There was another really interesting question around summer and sunlight and patches, and how you use them. Is it any different in the summer based on your body, based on the additional vitamin D that you're getting, or same protocol?
I would make one change. With summer coming up, if you're going to be outside, you're going to go swimming, I'd say I use the X39 patch, but I put it at the belt line of my swimsuit so it's not exposed to the sun, just to protect done any formal studies to see if that's really necessary or not. But that's just something that I do as a precaution. Otherwise, if you're not out tanning in the sun, certainly you can use the same protocols that we recommend.
That's great. Also, a couple questions. You mentioned Celergize, the forthcoming launch and timing. And we can share that we are building up inventory right now. We've got product in and continuing to come in. And so it is imminent. I don't know if you want to share any more on that.
Yeah, it's coming back out in June. Of course, we've been speaking about launching that outside the United States. So as we get more information, we'll share it. But I think for people here in the US, they'll be able to get Celergize again. And based on the testimonials we got on the initial release, I know we have a lot of looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am definitely one of them. I know we're all looking forward to it. And David, we're coming up at the top of the hour. So I just want to thank you for sharing this incredible information with us, for inspiring us to live healthier, to live longer, and for all these incredible innovations in health and wellness that you have and continue to bring. Thank you on behalf of all of us. And I know we're all going to have a much healthier summer because of it.
Thanks, Wayne. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.